So today I have for you a movie wrap up. These are movies that I watched in May and June. I have actually 20 of them, movies and TV shows, mostly movies. I want to say there's only one TV show. I watched quite a few. I about, looks like 6 of them. I have DVDs of the rest of them were on Amazon Prime or Netflix. That's it. Those are my streaming services. I have Crunchyroll too, but I don't watch movies on that. So let's get going. First up, I watched Hostel Part 2. I will actually link my letterbox down below because I do that now. So Hostel, if you do not know, is a series following these stupid American tourists who keep going to Eastern Europe and staying at this really nice hostel, but when they stay there, then they get kidnapped and like sold to really rich people who like to torture them to death. This is part 2. This one people really enjoy. Part 2, I thought it was really fun. I think part 1 is kind of fun in its own way, but this one I enjoyed it. I thought it had some good kills. I thought it had a fun, interesting kind of twist. I like the main character. She was much more likable than the main characters of the other one. Although I will say, I understand why Eli Roth did female characters this time, because he did male characters the first time. I do, however, appreciate that like you can. I feel like there's probably some kind of essay in there about how horror and sexuality is just so deeply ingrained in each other, and how most male directors and writers who are attracted to women will put women in their scary situations, but gay ones will do it to men. But I understand why he switched to women this time around, just because he'd already done the other one. It makes sense. But no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun time. I should get my letterbox open so I can give you my star ratings. All right. Diary. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. All right. Then next I watched Inherit the Wind, which came out in 1960. Hostel Part 2 was 2007, by the way. This was a rewatch because it was my freshman read the play again. I had freshmen read that play, and then we watched the movie. I think it's a fine film. I think it does its job. I think it's an interesting story. Inherit the Wind is a play about, it's based on the Snopes trial, where it talks about this science teacher who is on trial for teaching evolution in a very heavily Christian town, and it's about the trial. It's a good story. I enjoy it. Seems like it's getting more and more relevant every day. I give the movie 4 out of 5 stars. It's a decent one. Then on Amazon Prime, I watched Romeo and Juliet, the new version, the 2013 one. So this movie has a lot going on with it. So Romeo and Juliet, if you have lived under a rock for the last 500 years, is about these two teenagers who are part of these warring families, and they fall in love, and their families just can't like deal with it. Like they never tell their families because they're afraid of what might happen, and their families are just constantly battling, and so they kill themselves. So let me just read you my review for the Romeo and Juliet movie. So the good, I really liked the music. Paris, he was so dumb and had such a dumb hat, 10 out of 10. Friar Lawrence, and Romeo and Juliet themselves, not the best but serviceable. I thought it was really funny. I just because I've seen both actors in so many different things, I just thought it was funny. The bad, Mercutio, Tybalt, and Benvolio, which are the best part of the play. Those are the best characters in the entire play. Seriously, that was the weakest A Plague on Both Your Houses I've ever heard. Why was Benvolio roughly 12 years old? That was the thing, like, I can't ship Mercutio when one is 12 and one is 34. The hilarious, I've seen Dreamcatcher, because the Capulet father is played by the main character in Dreamcatcher, and it just reminded me of, like, the British Alien version. It's funny. Did it make me cry? Yes. Yeah, it made me cry. It was like, so at the end of the 90s version, like there's like a glimpse between Romeo and Juliet, and it just makes it that much more heartbreaking. But in this one, they extended it so far. I gave it 2.5 stars, but it did make me cry, so there was that. Then Blood Mania, which came out in 1970. This one was actually in a collection, a DVD collection of horror movies. This was, I believe, about this old man who was like dying, and his daughter was trying to thought she was going to get all of his money because she'd been taking care of him, but also kind of like trying to sleep with the doctor. It was the one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I give it 1 out of 5 stars. Then I watched Level 16 from 2018, and this is about like these girls who like they grow up in this place where they think that they're being raised to be adopted, but the thing is they have to like keep their skin really nice, and it turns out, I don't want to spoil it, but that comes back into play later. And the main character, I think what I really enjoyed about the main character was the fact that she was just so stupid. She was just like, I'm just gonna force my way through it, which I like. I kind of like that. There was a part where she was trying to use a key card to get through a door, and she swiped it and nothing happened. And instead of even trying the other way, like instead of trying like turn around, swipe the other way, she just used it to take off the door hinges. And that just really, I think, sums up her personality. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Then I read the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which came out in 2003. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is my favorite horror franchise. I love a good Texas Chainsaw. The only movie in this franchise that I have seen that I have not enjoyed was the 2022 one. It came out last year, right? The Netflix one. Don't get me started on it. But this is the original remake. It's got Mike Vogel in it. And who else? Jessica Biel is the main girl. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I love a good Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And this was a fun Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love the sheriff who played him. I forget. Oh yeah, Arlie Emery as the sheriff he's iconic. And I think Mike Vogel should have been in so many more horror movies, because I see him in all these early 2000s movies. I'm like, oh, this guy should have been in more horror movies. And this one, he was perfect. He was perfect. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The original is obviously superior, but this one's fun anyway. Then I watched But I'm a Cheerleader from 1999. It's my first time watching this movie, actually. But I'm a Cheerleader follows this cheerleader who one day her friends and family sit her down and they're like, "You're a lesbian and we're sending you to conversion camp." And she's like, "I'm not a lesbian, I'm a cheerleader." And then she goes to conversion camp. She's like, "Oh wait, yep." And it's a good movie. I'm pretty sure it made me cry. Let me double check that. Did this one make me cry? Did I tag it with made me cry? Or I cried? I'm pretty sure it made me cry. Yeah, it made me cry. It's got Natasha Lyonne in it, and Clea Duvall. It's so good. And Dante Bosco. Dante Bosco's in it, which is great. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a good movie. It was funny. It was really stylistic. I liked that. Yeah. Then I watched Unhuman from 2022. Unhuman is okay, so Unhuman is about this high school class is going on this trip, and then the bus crashes, and like there's like this zombie virus happening, and these zombies are really just violent and crazy, and our main girl escapes with a couple of other people, including the boy she has a crush on named Steven. And I wrote, when I'm watching movies, I tend to write, because I like to do those stupid quippy one-liner reviews, but even when I don't, I like to write it before I'm done with the movie. And I wrote my review for this one, the one that ended up staying, right before like the big twist. I knew the big twist, so it aged really poorly, but it's I think Unhuman is one of my favorite movies of the year. I think it's a really fun addition to the teen slasher zombie genre. I liked the characters. I liked how it ended. It was a good time. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars and a little heart. So there was that. Then I watched, on the complete opposite end, I watched The Deep House, which came out in 2021. This movie sucked. So The Deep House is about this French girl and her idiotic British boyfriend. I just cannot stand the British. I can't do it. And this British boyfriend is a vlogger, and he likes to take video of them going into abandoned places, and he learns about this house that's like underwater, and like if they can get some footage like nobody's been in there, it'd be really, really cool. But it's evil. There's evil. There's ghosts. Besides the fact that I just could not stand the main guy, it was deeply boring for so much of it. I give it 2 out of 5 stars. And then I watched a short film off of Netflix. I watched both The Deep House and Unhuman, and I think But I'm a Cheerleader, I think we're all on Amazon Prime. But then I watched a short film off of Netflix called If Anything Happens, I Love You, from 2020. I sobbed. I sobbed so hard with this one. It's a short film. I don't really want to spoil it. It's really short. It's just it's on Netflix. Go watch it. It's like a animated short. It's very sad. Once you kind of realize where it's going, like when they drop off their daughter and where she goes, you're like, oh, that's what this is about. And then you hear it and you're like, yeah, and then you're crying. Then into June, the first movie I watched in June was Nope, 2022. I loved it. This is my first Jordan Peele movie. I haven't watched Get Out or anything. I haven't watched any of them. I watched Nope on Amazon Prime. But basically it's about this family who owns a horse training for like movies arena in California, and they live right next to this like a Western theme park situation that is owned by Steven Yeun, or his character, who when this character was younger, he was like a child actor, and there's something kind of weird going on. At the beginning of the movie, the main character, his father is mysteriously killed, and there's something really weird happening. There's just this weird thing that's going on, and it's so good. It was so good. It was just so well put together. The characters were amazing. The sets were, I loved the monkey stuff. It was so good. Honestly, my favorite movie I've watched this year. 5 out of 5 stars and a little heart. Then I rewatched 2 movies, both on DVD. First up, I rewatched Twilight. I have not watched this movie since I want to say I was in middle school or high school. This came out in 2008. I was on the younger end of the people who were ripe for Twilight mania. I remember I went to I want to say the 3rd movie midnight release. But this obviously is about a girl from Arizona and the vampire that she falls in love with in Washington. It was nostalgic and kind of fun. I gave it 3.5 stars. I don't really have anything else to say about it. And then I rewatched a movie that is actually very, very, very like kind of bombastic when it comes to what people like it or don't like it. It's Yoga Hosers. This is a Kevin Smith movie, and it's got his daughter and Johnny Depp's daughter in it. And it's about these 2 annoying Canadian teenagers who work at this like convenience store, because it's a Kevin Smith movie, and they're these little Bratzies, or like brats, but also Nazis, and it's dumb, but it's Kevin Smith, and I really enjoy it. I haven't watched Tusk yet. I have it on DVD though. I'm excited. I enjoyed this movie. This is a rewatch. I liked it the first time. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's a fun time. Then I watched another one on DVD. That is Barbarians, which came out in 2021. I bought this because when I buy DVDs, I have like this big old list of like movies and TV shows and video games that I want to buy, and I wanted to buy Barbarian, but it wasn't available on DVD yet, so I added it to the bottom of the list and just bought this instead. This is about the most useless man alive and his fun wife, and they end up they're living in this house, and they think that they're gonna be able to like buy it, and they're super excited, and then there's a home invasion. Not a lot happens. It's a lot of people's issue with this movie comes from the fact that he's the most useless man alive. Like, I'm not kidding. He's just ridiculously useless. I like that though. I like a useless guy. I gave it 4 out of 5. It wasn't. I don't think it's as bad as some people are saying. It does switch gears real fast though. Then I watched Easy A, which came out in 2010. I watched this one on Netflix. I actually had never seen this movie before. I'd seen all the memes 7,000 times, but I'd never seen this movie. It is about this. It's like a modern day retelling of the Scarlet Letter almost. But it's about this girl who lies and tells her friend that she's had sex so that, or like kind of implies it, and then a rumor starts and it just spreads everywhere. And I think it's a funny movie. I think it's a good teen movie. I think the 2000s really had a lot going on when it comes to good teen movies. I enjoyed it. I was 5 out of 5. And then on Amazon Prime, I watched My Fake Boyfriend from 2022. This was a ride. First up, you hit play, and then you see BuzzFeed Studios, and you're like, oh dear lord. This is about this guy, and he has a very terrible relationship with his boyfriend because his boyfriend keeps cheating on him, and he comes back, and the guy's like, okay, and it's just got zero self-respect. So what his friend Dylan Sprouse suggests to him is that not even suggest to him. His friend Dylan Sprouse creates this fake boyfriend, but it just spirals. It was really dumb, but it was kind of fun, and it was absolutely insane. So it has all the problems that a movie that starts with BuzzFeed Studios you would expect to have, but it's still a fun time. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then my last DVD, I watched Catching Fire. This is a rewatch also. This is another movie that I saw in theaters when I was in high school, midnight release. Came out in 2013. So I was, a sophomore? I want to say. Yeah, because I graduated in 2015. I'm pretty sure it was in the spring. But this is the second Hunger Games movie. I've never actually watched the third or the fourth Hunger Games movies. I've watched the first two. But I was in prime Hunger Games obsession age when these were really, really big, because I was in high school. But this, if you weren't aware, if you are young, The Hunger Games was a dystopian trilogy written by Suzanne Collins that got made into these movies. They're what really put Jennifer Lawrence up where she is today. It's a good movie. It's really good. I do want to watch the Mockingjay movies now. I get 4 out of 5. Then, speaking of the Sprouse twins, I watched 5 Feet Apart on Netflix, came out in 2019. I mean, it's They The Fault in Our Stars, which was another movie that I saw in theaters in high school. It's about this girl with, what does she have? I think it's cystic fibrosis. It's some long thing. And there's a boy with the same thing, and she falls in love with him, but they can't be close because if they could catch each other's bacteria and then die. It made me cry, but it wasn't that good. I gave 3 out of 5 stars. And then also on Netflix, I watched Fanfik from 2023. I loved fanfic. Apparently this is based off of these Polish books. It's a Polish movie. It's based off these books. I'm hoping that with this release of this movie on Netflix that they translate the books into English, because they haven't. I want to read them. But it's about this Polish teenager just exploring his gender and kind of presentation and who he really is. And it's a good time. I really liked it. I give it 5 out of 5 stars and a little heart. One of my favorites of the year. And finally, I watched I have 2 more. Just one of them's the TV show. I watched Lights Out, which came out in 2016. This was based off of a short film, but it is about this like creature that when you turn your light off and like you can kind of see it, and you turn the light on and she's gone kind of thing. And it's about this family. It's about grief. The funniest thing about this movie, and it's not really meant to be a funny movie. Okay, I have 2 funny things about this movie. First up, it was recommended to me by a 4th grader. Second up, it accidentally, I don't think it was on purpose, but accidentally just implies that people who are depressed should just kill themselves to save their family pain. Which isn't a great message. But there's that. Yeah, it was okay. I gave it 3 out of 5. Decent. And then I watched the first season of The Witching Season, which came out in 2017. This is less of a TV show and more of like a collection of short films. I believe it's on Amazon Prime. I think my favorite one was the one about the guy who went to this like haunted house to write, but it turns out like what he was writing was coming true and stuff like that. Let me see what it was called. The Witching Season. They Live Inside Us. Yeah, that one was my favorite. That one was the best one. Is That You was pretty meh. I really remember very little of Not Alone. Princess was decent, and Killer on the Loose was fun too. So I'd say overall, like, three of them were three of them I would say were good. One of them I can't remember at all, and one of them was kind of meh. But I did watch it, and that is where we are at right now. I've been watching a lot of movies lately, actually, which is fun. But yeah, that is all I have today. I'll talk to you later, and goodbye.